High-stakes elections in 2 states today. In Florida, 2 congressional seats could decide how slim the GOP majority will be in the House. And in Wisconsin, a state Supreme Court seat has billionaires writing checks in what's become the most expensive judicial race in U.S. history. And we have teams on the ground as Florida and Wisconsin decide. CBS News Miami's Jim DeFede is in South Florida, and CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe is in Milwaukee. And Ed, we're going to start with you. Good to see you as always. Why is this state race getting so much attention? And can you tell us what's at stake here?
Hugo, good to see you. Jim has the warmer races, but this is a hot one up here in Wisconsin. It is a race for a seat on the 7-member state Supreme Court of Wisconsin, and it has now become the most expensive race of its kind in the country for a judicial seat. You have a liberal-backed and a conservative-backed candidate in what's an officially nonpartisan contest, but it's drawn tens of millions of dollars in spending by Democrats, Republicans, and the PACs that love either side, trying to hold on to this seat for liberals or to take it for conservatives and flip the ideological balance of this battleground state court. At issue things like abortion rights, whether labor unions can organize state workers, potentially issues regarding the environment, and then perhaps most critically to everyone else in the country, concerns about congressional redistricting and election laws as the midterm and presidential elections grow closer, and Wisconsin once again likely becomes a battleground state. So you've seen $81 million plus spent by both sides in this election. It means almost every television ad a Wisconsin resident is seeing has something to do with this contest. $12 million plus spent by a PAC run by Elon Musk. He donated $3 million personally to the state GOP. On the Democratic side, you've seen George Soros, the Illinois governor J.B. Pritzker, who's a billionaire, donate millions to the state Democratic Party that went to this contest as well. Both sides realizing this is a chance to score points 2 months into President Trump's second term.
And Ed, I have to ask you, what is bringing voters to the polls in this race?
Well, they understand in Wisconsin that you've got one of these every year for the next several years as 10-year terms for these judges or these justices expire. And this is one of the states that does elect its high court instead of having a governor nominate people to the court. And so they're used to this. What is different, what has caused many to scratch their heads around here is this just too expensive a contest? Should it really come to this? This is one of the states that believes that by allowing people to elect their judges directly, perhaps they're not as influenced by the partisan waves of a legislature or the partisan preferences of a governor. But in an increasingly partisan time, and where everything really has become partisan or ideological, obviously this election is being hijacked to some extent by outside influences. And, there's some question about whether it should be done differently. Nothing serious yet, but it's going to have many voters here wondering, is it really worth the money to have this kind of an expensive race? I mean, look at those numbers we were just showing you. The amounts are just staggering. And all for 1 of 7 votes on the state Supreme Court.
Wow, a lot of money on that race already. We'll see what happens with the results. Ed O'Keefe, as always, thank you so much for joining us on the stream. President Trump weighing in on the Wisconsin election. In a Truth Social post this morning, he attacked Judge Susan Crawford as a liberal and urged voters to get behind conservative candidate Brad Schimmel, and that's the judge. Now, let's turn now to CBS News Miami's Jim DeFede, and that is where special elections are underway for 2 congressional seats. Jim, who is running, and why is the GOP nervous about these races? I keep thinking this is Florida. It shouldn't be a big deal, right?
Yeah, these are 2 congressional districts that are deep red districts. Donald Trump won them by more than 30 points. And in the congressional races just a few months ago, the candidates in those races won them by 30 points. But this is Congressional District 1, which Matt Gaetz used to represent. He stepped down to be named Attorney General, and then his name was withdrawn. So we now have the state's Republican chief financial officer, backed by Trump, Jimmy Patronis, running against a Democrat, Gabe Vermont. But the more interesting race that's really attracting a lot of attention is Congressional District 6. This was the seat that was held by Mike Waltz, now the national security advisor, who's in all the trouble with Signalgate. And he stepped down. He had won his seat in November by 32 points. And now in that seat, you have 2 candidates, a Democrat, Josh Weil, a public school teacher, against State Senator Randy Fine, a Republican who is endorsed by Donald Trump. But what has caught some people by real surprise is the amount of money that has come in to this race, a common theme with Wisconsin. But unlike Wisconsin, it's small dollar donors that have been really driving these races down here. It's almost as if the Democratic anger around the country needed an outlet. And so those small dollar donors, 80% of the small dollar donors, giving under $200 to these races, has raised more than $16 million for these 2 congressional seats on the Democratic side. That is just staggering. Josh Weil has raised more than $10 million versus Republican Randy Fine $1 million. And so it's really a contest there.
And Jim, we know this is the first major election since President Donald Trump took office again. So could this serve as a referendum on the Trump agenda?
The Democrats believe it is, and let's be clear about one thing. Even Democrats I talk to don't expect the Democrat to win either of these seats.
Right.
It's just a matter of, do they exceed expectations? Do they cut into that giant lead that they had in just 4 or 5 months ago? If the Democrat in Congressional District 6, Josh Weil, wins or loses rather by just 10, 11, 12 points, God forbid he should get within single digits, it'll set off panic within Republican circles, which is why you saw Donald Trump holding a tell-tale hall for these candidates. And Republicans nationally have already started trashing State Senator Randy Fine, their own candidate, saying he's a bad candidate because they're afraid that this will reflect badly on the president. But I will tell you that among the issues that people are concerned about in that district is top of mind Social Security. More than a third of the residents in that district are over the age of 65. And one of the things that took place recently was when Elon Musk was announcing the closings of certain Social Security offices and cutbacks, one of those Social Security offices was in Congressional District 6. So that's caused a lot of attention. So the issues that are in Washington are certainly playing a factor here. Again, nobody expects a Democrat to win, but if it is a closer race, that'll be real trouble for Republicans moving forward.
And we shall see what happens as the results come in. Jim DeFede, thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.